Not a lick of prep work.
Nah, who needs it?
Just go in hot, man.
We don't even get an intro today.
Did that not play?
No play.
No play, no intro, just cold cipher type opening.
Tyler's back at the Roadcaster. Nothing playing.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the Real Life Podcast, a member of the Nation Network of Podcasts and delivered by DoorDash.
Welcome to Real Life, everyone.
What is going on right now?
I think that I'm in love with Matthew Tkachuk.
Are you guys all drunk?
Welcome in. It's episode 336 of the Real Life Podcast. Tyler Remchuk, Bagged Milk, Wanye, also here.
But not here.
Bing!
Bing bong. Fuck your life.
Bing bong. Fuck your life.
Classic TikTok humor.
Classic joke.
Ready for another classic episode of the Real Life Podcast, brought to you by the HGA Group, who we love very much. Going to have a guest on the pod, I think, coming up right away in the next week or so from HGA Group. Something we've been hyping up for a while.
For months, poor
The
HGA.
most hyped up guest ever, I think.
Yep. Absolutely.
They're like, if you had your shit together, you wouldn't need HGA. They're like, well, that is true.
Well, that's why they're
It's
here.
mostly just your Remchuk. He takes a guest every 4 years. Every presidential election, we have one guest. That's what I told HGA.
And then we
just
hype
threw
them
you
in
under
between.
the bus.
Yeah.
They were like offended. They're like, did we do something wrong to offend you? Why don't you want to have us on the podcast like we talked about? I'm like, well, your Remchuk's a real jerk, you see, and he's a real jerk.
It's almost starting to turn into that Matt Damon bit on the Jimmy Kimmel show, where it's like, oh, we just ran out of time for the HGA Group.
Because the premise is we're going to have a meeting with HGA because we have meetings with them all the time.
Mhm.
We're going to have one on the show, but maybe we're ashamed of ourselves. Maybe that's why we don't want to have them on the pod. Is they're going to be like, why do you do this, this, and this? And then we'll just hear sad trombones off the Roadcaster for an hour. It'll mostly just be me blaming everything on your Remchuk when they have the meeting with us on the air.
I'm looking at the Roadcaster right now because I'm sitting right beside it, and it's way fancier than the mixer I bought, Tyler.
The Roadcaster?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yours was a
fraction of the price.
Yeah. Like that, even that is almost an understatement. But yours will get the job done just as well for what you're looking to do.
And I got cool knobs and buttons to push. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Knobs and buttons.
So you have the hardware, Bag Milk?
Yeah, I got it last night. So I got it. I spent probably a couple hours on YouTube learning how to use it, how to connect it, what's going to go on. So I had to order some more cables last night. But
where'd you get it from?
Where did we find that?
Amazon.
Computers?
Yeah. Yep. No, Jeff Bezos dropped it off at my house. So thank to him.
Personally?
Yep.
Did you see Bezos shouting out The Rock at the People's Choice Awards?
No.
Why?
And Bezos just like, hey, my good friend. And The Rock is just like destroying his jacket. He's so jacked. He just was like the Hulk came to life. He's like, hey, Jeff Bezos, my good drinking buddy. Like,
the interesting thing about The Rock being so jacked is he was not that jacked when he was a Rocky Maivia way back in the day. He is tripled in size.
Bigger and jackier and richier and jackier.
My favorite thing about following The Rock on Instagram is, first of all, he makes me tired. So I just look at him from afar. But cheat day for him, that's always something to behold. It's like a trough of food for that dude.
You haven't heard of this, your Remchuk? He'll eat like 400 pancakes.
Yeah, it's just a table full of sushi. And he's like, cheat day. Hell yeah, brother. Iron Paradise.
He's evolving into some sort of higher life form than humans. And he's just starring in all these movies and making $100 million a year.
Yeah, he will do literally any movie, right?
It's amazing how many movies he's in. I just watched that new one that he was in with Ryan Reynolds on Netflix. Like
Jumanji?
No, not Jumanji. They were spies of some
Free
kind.
Guy?
Cops. No,
Hitman's Bodyguard.
Red Notice?
Yeah, Red Notice. Red Notice. That's what I just watched. It was okay.
The most watched movie in the history of Netflix, according to Netflix.
Really?
Yeah, something like that.
I saw an ad. It's like the most watched movie ever. I'm like, I don't know.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
That's probably still got to be Pootie Tang.
Oh, of course. Who's not watching Pootie Tang?
Your Remchuk, for heaven's sakes, tell me you've seen Pootie Tang.
No.
You might want to write that down in your little book.
Yep.
Watch Pootie Tang. Do myself the greatest favor of my own life.
Yeah. More people need to watch Pootie
Please
Tang.
watch Pootie Tang. It's one of the funniest movies of all time. Truly.
He's Googling it right now. I don't think he believes you.
It is so... Bag Milk, you can attest. It's cult, but it's funny.
Yeah, of course. It's one of those movies that a lot of people have seen after the fact, after it was released on DVD and stuff, but it's just got a cult following to it.
Chris Rock's in it.
Yeah.
It's so
Pretty
funny.
sure Louis C.K. wrote it or something like that.
Is that true?
Something like that. Pootie Tang. I don't even know how to spell it.
Louis C.K. and then Google just electrocutes
Oh, no,
you. For
directed by Louis C.K.
Okay.
Think about that, you Chuck.
Yeah.
I am.
That's an incredible cinematic piece of history.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So Wanye, you're not in the studio today. Why?
Well, because there's a chap here putting in a new garage overhead door opener deal.
So my question for you is, have you just not been accessing your garage all this time?
No, like I can hand bomb it open and shut, no problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The door goes up and down, just the chain deflinked from the combobulator.
Old school.
With regards to the overhead unit.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fellow came out and took a look with a magnifying glass and a giant plume and pen. And he wrote down on fucked on the sheet of paper and gave it to me. And I was like, okay, great. Yeah, cool. And
I like that.
I'll be back.
I like that you told me you're checking things off at your house of things that just needed to be repaired for years. And now you're just casually getting them done.
Well, I haven't let anybody in my house due to the emerging public health condition. So I can like get around problems like no other, Like if suddenly the lights in my kitchen didn't work, like the light switch was fucked for some reason or other. And I was just like, that's fine. And I just had a dark kitchen.
That was me in my bedroom for about a year.
I stacked up all this shit I had to get done. And then I've just had people swarming all around Wanye Manor like army ants. And then I have to shut the doors again. So be it.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I just saw? This is interesting.
Is it about Pootie Tang?
No,
That'd be about Pootie Tang.
not at all.
Oh.
But you know me, I'm actively tracking the WHL draft today, right?
Of course.
You know you are.
Of course. Who isn't?
The Edmonton Oil Kings at 89th overall selected Teo Pisani,
Really?
No kidding.
the son of
Of Fernando.
That's one of those
Correct.
things where
Please hold on. Sorry, Bag Milk. I hate to interrupt. It's about 2006.
Go on.
Please describe this player to me, Chuck, so that I know what I'm dealing with.
Oh, I have no idea what Teo Pisani is.
Is he a goalie? Is he a forward? Is he an adjunct trainer?
He is he's a forward, 5'7", 130 pounds,
Irrelevant. He's in the dub.
and he
He's a
played
forward,
with
though?
the St. Albert Raiders. Yes.
St. Albert
Forward.
Raiders stats.
I have no idea. I literally just have a release or a tweet from the Oil Kings saying they took Teo Pisani. And you know
This is
who
going to
is
be the moment in history right now.
so he was taken 89th overall, taken 9th overall in the
Mike
draft.
Comrie.
Tij, I think I'm saying that right. Tij Aginla.
no way.
By whomst?
The Seattle Thunderbirds took him.
That's one of those things where it's starting to make me feel as old as I actually am, where guys I watched in the NHL, their kids are now drafted into the NHL and in a lot of cases playing.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
for
weird.
God's sakes, why does that make you feel old? Does your job to cheer them on exceed your physical requirements?
Yes. Yes. Because I don't know how to relate to
Damn,
the
I
kids.
just don't have what it takes to clap for a ginless kid.
I don't.
Me and Pisani's kid are going to fucking go all the way to the Mem Cup together whenever he feels he's old enough. I'd get a Pisani Oil Kings jersey for sure.
Well, you can.
Now you
And
can.
I'll get his dad to sign it. And I'll be like, oh yeah, you too, kid, whatever.
I saw them at the grocery store by my house once.
Who, Fernando?
Mm-hmm. And I stopped next to him at a red light like a week after. I'd like two times in like 7 days where I turned. I was like, holy shit, that's Fernando Pisani.
I was thinking about that the other day, actually, how I haven't had a good Oilers in the Wild sighting, be it at a red light.
We're not in the wild. We're not moving in these streets.
But I just figured, like, I'm back at Nation HQ again. It's been a minute. Coming back down.
You know it.
I usually see somebody at like a red light or, getting coffee or something. I missed them.
I saw Jack Michaels at a red light, but the last
That's very exciting.
The last time I think I had like an Oilers encounter in the wild is when I saw Oscar Clefbaum at the Burger Priest before the pandemic.
Yeah, I remember that.
I came into the office after and I was like, yo, guess what I just saw?
Speaking of Jack Michaels, part of arguably the most fun I was having the other night during the hockey game was when there was that dog barking in the first period.
Oh my God.
And
that
everybody was
the
going
funniest thing.
mental on social media being like, what's going on? Am
But
I crazy?
No one said anything for like a minute or two.
Yeah.
Like there was a lag between
Yeah.
the dog. I'm like, what is the fuck? And I hit mute on the TV and I'm like, oh, there must be the neighbor's dog or something. And then it was like a minute or two later, like a delayed reaction of why the hell is a dog barking?
That's what my thought was too. I'm like, oh, it must just be outside or something. And then all of a sudden my dog, Frank, started pacing around the house trying to find this mystery dog. He was like on the hunt, and it was just the best. I loved it. It was probably the most. And
that's how, sorry, that to interrupt. That's how loud a dog barking in Loge comes through on game speakers. That's crazy how sensitive the mics are.
That's where it was.
Well, I thought they said it was right next to them. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Actually,
I'm quoting OilersNation.com limited on Twitter, and it had a photo of a dog in the Loge, and it said dog Loge.
I believe that was reporting the dogs on the Loge.
Shoot down our own reporting here, Amtrak. You get to be in charge.
Okay.
Shout out to that dog.
Was he not on the Loge? Was he not on the Loge? Am I wrong?
I don't know where he was at the time of the barking, but I was sitting there watching the game on my TV, and we hear the dog barking, and it happens a few times, and Amber's sitting next to me, and she's like, is that at the game? And I was like, no, what's wrong with you? That's not at the game. That's outside our house. Someone's taking their dog out to piss and going back. And she was like, it sounds like it's at the game. And I'm like, you are insane. I used that word. I said,
like a real treat.
Yep. I was like, you are insane.
It was just so funny. Like everybody that was at the game, or there's a lot of people that were following along on Twitter, had no idea what was going on. And that was also part of the fun because everybody thought they were going crazy hearing this dog barking on the broadcast.
Oh, it was good times on Twitter after that. That's all we needed to laugh for about an hour after.
My favorite tweet, and I don't remember who sent it, but it was like, I've seen Airbud before. Get this dog in the game.
Yeah. Somebody tweeted that at the Nation, and it made me laugh out loud.
Made me really chuckle.
Someone's like, checks the rule book. There's nothing here that says the dog can't play in the NHL. That would be amazing.
That's good live TV, Tyler.
That was good live TV. And I like how Jack addressed it as well and was like, listen, we hear the dog. It's coming from in the ring. Because can you imagine if Jack didn't address it and no one knew? Well, I honestly didn't know what was going on.
I didn't know what was going on either.
Yeah.
There you go. Dogs. They're stars.
Dogs, man. Dogs are like us. They
didn't even get a shift though.
Arf.
Yeah. All right. Well,
that game was barktastic.
They actually played well.
I didn't think they played that poorly. It was just, again, another tough start.
There are games.
It is what it is, man. We're not going to win every game.
Like when Pittsburgh rolled in here, and Edmonton got just shit on. Pittsburgh was by far the better team. And that game at the end wasn't even close. Edmonton won like 5-2. Yep. And that was just the reverse of that. Is Edmonton played good, probably deserved to be in that game, outshot the Wild like 20-6 at all strengths in the second period. And they go into the third down 2-1. It was just
annoying because Cam Talbot played very well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of shots from the outside, but more or less he played it really well. And then of all people, fucking Dmitry Kulikov gets a breakaway goal. It's just,
oh my good God.
The ex-Oilers curse is so real. And
so real.
That was just a shining example.
Is this something we made up in our heads as being an Oilers only thing?
I think it might be something we've made up in our heads a little bit as being an Oilers only.
But have we?
Well, like it happens an absurd amount. I just think other fan bases also feel this themselves. Like there's
like a lot of interchanging of players over time that you play many, many times, right?
Yeah.
It's the old revenge.
But just thing. Like I need it to go the other way at times. Like tomorrow, do any of the Oilers, did they play for the Bruins? Current Oilers
play for the Bruins.
Turler Hill.
See, like I wouldn't be surprised if Hall scores against the Oilers tonight, but like Warren Fogle, if he scores against Carolina on Saturday, then I'll start to believe that other teams also have this curse. But if he does not and Ethan Bear does, I've got
it all hinges on that.
Yes.
Listen, all we need Connor and Leon to do is hold the fort for 3 short seasons of WHL hockey until Pisani Jr. is ready to ascend to Oilers' legendary status, and he will win the cup in his rookie year in 3 years.
Can you imagine if the Oilers were the ones that drafted a Ginlas kid when the time comes?
A Ginlas kid! Oh,
that would have been quality trolling.
Ginlas jerseys.
That would have been quality trolling.
Jersey implication.
And the Oilers take him like way too early. They're like, listen, we're not risking the Flames getting this one.
No, this is about merchandising, not about on-ice product.
Exactly.
Iginla.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is Pisani's kid's name again?
Teo.
Teo?
T-E-O.
How you spell it? T-H-E-O?
No, just T-E-O. Teo?
Teo.
Teo or Teo?
Yeah.
Congratulations, Teo.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Someone named Hyde just went in the WHL draft as well. Hyde. Like from that 70s show. Anyways.
What a review, said the New York Times.
Here's an interesting one. This just rolled in. I'm breaking this news.
Live on the air.
Dallas Aikens will be on the DFO rundown tomorrow. Just got that confirmed.
Oh, how?
Doesn't that get you going? Gregor, Saravalli, Aikens, and your Yaremchuk.
The weird part is, Wanye, do you remember when Dallas Aikens was hired? And
do I remember
the hopes we had? The picture of him hugging his kid or whatever it was at the airport.
That was my fucking Twitter avatar for like a year.
And then he was talking about how fitness was going to be the thing, and he was going to get the most fit team on earth.
Yes, man.
It just didn't work. Then he took the ping pong table away.
And the donuts went by.
Donuts. Rude.
You should ask him, Yaremchuk, just in the middle of the interview when they're into the middle of it, just come on in like a goober voice and just be like, "Why are you a goober?" And then just like ask him to his face.
He might win the Jack.
Like, why did you try to do so much so fast?
He's biting off.
Paul Maurice has been a coach in the NHL for 31 seasons, and he didn't do half the wacky shit you did in 20 minutes in the league.
But like Tyler said, Ducks are really good this year, and it's annoying.
Yeah, and a big part of it is like what you hear about the culture that Aikens has created there. Like that is legitimately what you hear. Oh yeah, like your mic is very, very scratchy when you yell. So there's that.
I apologize. I was also wrestling around and lying on the couch.
He's got those new AirPods in.
Oh yeah.
What's up, Yaremchuk?
I didn't even notice that. In the past, you were always just rocking the wired Apple headphones, which scratched against the beard.
Now I'm dancing and I'm motherfucking wireless.
I will take the slight distortion when you yell over the beard rustling. So this is fantastic for me.
Yeah.
Good move.
Well, you edit 90% of this show down anyways. The last episode was 3 minutes long, for fuck's sakes. I'm sure you can figure out a way to make that go away, like most of my funny jokes.
Shout out to Robert Kraft, of course.
Yep.
My favorite was the tweet started to come in, people guessing the joke that we were getting at all of last episode.
The best.
It was the best.
I do like how Chalmers and Jay were like, we're joining from Mexico. They have not.
And they looked at me like I was some kind of asshole when I said there's zero chance either of you are appearing on this podcast next week.
Mm-hmm.
I know how it goes.
But I bet you they've talked about it 100 times.
Yeah, I bet because
you know how drunk time works. You're like, okay,
of course,
tomorrow at 3 p.m., we mustn't fuck around and we must do the thing. And then you're drunk for 24 hours. And next thing you realize it's November.
You get involved in a boozy brunch. And the next thing you know, it's 6 p.m. That's how it goes.
Yep.
I know how Chalmers rolls. Here's Chalmers on vacation. I've been on way too many vacations with this guy. He's the guy who just rolls up at a hotel in the pool bar with like 11 rum punches. He's got his finger in every single drink. And he's like, here you go, boys. And you're like, Chalmers, it's 9:01 a.m. He's like, we're going to start sometime. And everyone's like, your finger has been in this drink for at least 200 yards while you walked over here. And then he goes, fine, I'll drink them all myself. And like fights people for the drink. And then he's just like a polar bear that's been unleashed at the zoo.
And also Trip J gets after it also.
Of course.
It's a celebratory week. So
the whole point of going to Trip.
Yes. You get after it. I knew they weren't going to be on.
You have to.
Before we keep moving along, I want to give some love to twigandberries.ca. Remember last episode when we put Waz's email into the wheel and spun it at twigandberries.ca? I'm doing it with Liam's email.
Oh, nice. What's Liam with?
Oh, nice. What do we got?
Spinning.
Come on.
Yeah, boy.
10% off.
I'm starting to think.
I wish I was there to see it.
Yeah, it was very exciting. There's snowy glitter coming down in celebration of Liam's new gift card.
Spin the wheel, man. Go and spin the wheel at twigandberries.ca.
Try your luck. Twigandberries.ca. They also have a new little tab here called Groom and Groomsmen packages. That seems cool.
That's nice.
Yes.
Get everyone like matching stuff.
I need to get some of their ODR gear because their hoodies are really nice. Yeah, and they look warm. They look really warm.
The hoodie I have.
Spin the wheel. Tell us if you can beat 10% off, which is a fine prize. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
You can also use the promo code Nation15 for 15% off.
Yeah.
Can't stack them.
Oh,
that's the rules.
Rude.
Should we talk a little bit more hockey or should we transition to some other stuff? No.
I've got stuff I want to talk about.
Oh, what do you want to talk about? You go.
Well, let's talk about the valuation of the Oilers doubling in a year.
Man, the ROI for old Catesy boys since he picked this team up is pretty incredible, isn't it? Now the ninth most valuable, according to Forbes.
Seventh.
Is it seventh?
Either way. It's impressive.
Coombsy wrote about it yesterday. I'll pull it up.
We got to run this through a stank test mentally. Your Amtrak, are you interested in this sort of thing or not really?
Yes.
I know Bag Milk, you're down with the business.
Of course. Oh, it is 7th. I was wrong. 7th most valuable NHL team. $1.1 billion USD.
So then Staples wrote an article. It's like, can you believe the Oilers' value doubled due to the fanatical fans? Which is just nonsense, right? Like, can you believe the value of the Oilers doubled because Warren Fogle came aboard? Like, that has nothing. Fanatical fans, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I don't have the Oilers truly doubled in value in the last 12 months, or were they severely underreporting it before? I know that Forbes said that they had been shortchanging the Oilers' revenues.
That's what I read. I was going to ask you about that because I read the Forbes thing yesterday and they said they shorted them on rev. So I was going to ask you, do you think that's them grossly being shorted on how much money they make, or legitimately a double?
Let's just start out by saying, how much are the Oilers worth to me personally as an individual? $100 trillion. They're worth more than Apple, Google, and Facebook combined times 10. That's how much the Oilers intrinsically are worth to me personally, right?
Of course.
Now the Jets are worth like 400 million according to Forbes, and the Oilers are worth 1.1.
Yeah.
Huh? Don't the Oilers not own the arena? I thought they had $100 million of equity in the arena that's owned by the city of Edmonton.
That is a good question. I don't know how to answer this.
Ramchuk?
I do not know the answer to that either.
Just strikes me as odd. It also reported, what did it show the operating losses the Oilers last year had? Like 20 million?
I'm pulling up the article right now. So the Edmonton
That's
Oilers.
wild.
No, I've reached my limit. How dare you, Forbes?
Forbes? You son of a bitch,
You've
Forbes.
bamboozled
You capitalist prick.
You've bamboozled me. Let me try it incognito.
We'll come back with a VPN and fuck you over.
Ha! Incognito gets around it. I mean, no, it didn't. I paid for a subscription.
I mean, no, it didn't. Forbes.
So we got value 1.1 billion, 1 year change 100%, 5 year change 147%.
Yeah.
Let's dig into some numbers here.
And did the Jets, for example, go up or down over last year? Did they double in value to 400 million?
The Jets are ranked. Oh, I'm scrolling way down Winnipeg.
Yeah.
26. They're valued at 575 million, a 1 year change of 42%, a 5 year change of 69%.
So they went up by 42%. Because the difference, and they didn't talk about this really anywhere that I saw, is that the NHL has signed this US TV deal.
Yeah.
So all these teams are now making money off Rogers and PNT or whoever. Was it TNT that signed the American deal? So that is like the Oilers 20 years ago when the EIG owned them were like a ticket-driven business, right?
Yeah.
Like the large lion's share of their revenue came from Edmontonians showing up and spending $36 to see Mike Comrie hockey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, every single Oilers game is effectively a TV show. And the revenue from being a TV show internationally destroys the revenue of the ticket sales at Rogers Place.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's how all the values, I think, increased a lot year over year. It's just they're factoring in now like the future value of this giant ass TV deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't remember how much money every team gets, but it's like a lot of money every year. It's like 20 or 25 million. And the salary cap didn't go up by that amount.
No. It also, I like in this Forbes article, it's got projected league revenues up to 6 billion estimated by 2025-26. So that is almost nearly tripling what it was in 2020-21. Obviously, there was no fans in the building, all that, but that's pretty interesting.
Cap should start going back up soon.
It doesn't. What's that? Cap should go fucking right. It will.
Should.
And this is why when people are like, players shouldn't make this kind of money, they're like replacing TV shows on TV, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
When you think of like how much money it costs to make like Friends or some shit. When you think about the NFL was like 45 of the top 100 TV shows last year were NFL games.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they get all this extra money from.
Well, I find it interesting that the Rangers leapfrogged the Leafs as the most valuable franchise in the NHL.
I was surprised at how high the Flyers were as well. The Flyers being that much higher than say the Pittsburgh Penguins, like some
Flyers were sixth at 1.2 billion.
And then
but like I swear the Flyers own their arena. Like Mr. Snyder, I think, is the owner of the team, or he may have passed out.
It's listed as Comcast is listed as the owner of
Comcast.
the Flyers.
Yeah, he was the owner of Comcast, so
okay.
Makes sense. But I swear they own their arena outright, whereas the Oilers, I swear, don't own the arena. But anyways, who the hell knows? I can't believe it that they doubled in value in a year where everybody's locked out, but they did sign that big ass TV deal.
Do you remember what the Oilers sold for?
So much?
Do you remember what they sold for originally to Kate's back from the EIG?
172 million, 205 million Canadian.
205 million Canadian. So 175, you said US?
Yeah, 172.
172 US to 1.1 billion in a matter of what, a decade?
Well, think about Gary Gregg was trying to buy them, remember, against Cates, and he's like, we're going to bid 85 million Canadian. And everybody was like, holy hell. And then Cates is like 172 million US. But what's crazy is what's ended up happening is the arena district, due to COVID, due to larger economic issues, they weren't able to roll out all the units they wanted to roll out. I don't think it's gone badly, but I don't think it's gone to plan necessarily, right? Whereas now, he made so much money on the team that I don't think he had really factored into his plans.
Yeah.
It's bananas.
The Penguins recently sold for like just under 900 million, I think. And when Burkle bought that team out of bankruptcy,
200.
No, it was around, I think Frank said 70. It was like 70 or 80.
70? Oh, I thought I read 200.
When Burkle bought the Penguins.
Yeah, with Mario.
Yeah. So Frank, I think that was what Frank said, like 70, 80 million in that range. And he flipped that thing into like 800 and some in a couple decades. What?
And it's because of all these national TV deals with the league that didn't exist before, right? Like tickets have gotten more expensive for sure, but it's this like, we're now a North American TV content machine, right? Mm-hmm. And if you think about how valuable teams are, like how much are the Flames worth in that list?
They are 18th at 680 million.
680 million. So they're almost factoring the full value of the arena into the Oilers' value. That's crazy.
So I wonder what the Flames value would do when they get their new barn. Right?
Yeah, like
that's so
I'm flabbergasted that we're able to go from like 26th in league revenue, like Brownlee talked about in his article.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I remember we were getting shit kicked out of everybody and nobody went to games. And like now it seems as though no one's going to games again, but the money's coming from TV.
I also wonder, like, I was just thinking about it. I don't know how you would quantify it or label it, but like what value does a guy like Connor McDavid have to the Oilers franchise and how does it work into that number? Obviously the arena deal, the TV deal, all that is huge, huge money. But if you're talking about just market value or brand value, having him on
brand value, like the merchandising for sure is more because you're selling one of the top 5 jerseys in the league, but the Oilers don't have, I could be wrong, like a regional TV deal. Like they have Sportsnet, but it's not like they have an incremental TV deal the Flames don't have because they have Connor McDavid.
Yeah, that's true. And
it is the attendance dramatically higher because Connor is here than before? Not really. It was really well attended beforehand, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. They should try to sell part of the team to Connor.
They should. Why not?
Like the Milwaukee Buck guy, right? If I was Cates now, I'd be like, this thing is beyond the means of business people to purchase, right? Like the amount of people who can afford $1 billion company, you have to buy it on. It's actually easier to buy $1 billion team probably than $100 million team because you have all these revenues to support it. Yep. But I would go to Connor and be like, be here till you're dead. I'll sell you 10% of the team right now. And they'll be like, damn, how fantastic.
I'm sure
if anyone deserves it, if there's any team, like, was it Milwaukee Bucks that did it?
Yeah, with Giannis. I think that's
right?
who you're I think that's who you'd be thinking.
Yeah. They sold him a part of the team as an active player, which was like a never before done thing, right?
Tyler's
so like anchor him forever. Anyways, the Oilers should do that with Connor, especially in the light of it doubling in value.
Yeah, man. If you're talking about making bank, obviously he's going to make 100 schmil on this contract plus endorsements plus, but ownership, a little chunk of the Oilers.
And then be like, why would you want to leave? You're an owner of the team. Are they going to sell you 10% of the Maple Leafs, Connor? And then Austin Matthews would be like, I want 10%. And then MLS would be like, get the fuck out of here, Austin Matthews. And then Connor would be like, I reign supreme.
Giannis signed with the Milwaukee Bucks and then purchased a stake in the Milwaukee Brewers, which is something that Patrick Mahomes also did, signing with the Kansas City Chiefs and then purchasing a stake in the Kansas City Royals. So they're crossing sports.
I thought that he owned his own team.
So what we're saying is we need to give Connor ownership of the Edmonton Elks.
Why not? Like, what the fuck? It's not going to like violate any ethics or some shit. He is the Oilers.
If the Oilers actually stepped up on his next negotiation, we're going to give you 2% of the team or whatever, right? Whatever it would be. I think the NHL would step in and go, that is cap circumvention.
Why? Why? You can make them pay market rates for it.
Yeah, but they might still sit there and go, you're using this to circumvent the cap and get him a lower AAV.
He gives them ownership, a chunk of ownership, and then a cut on all retail sales and all concession sales at Rogers Place.
Then he signs for a cap hit of league minimum.
Yeah. We're making business deals here. That's what we're doing today.
Listen up,
That's an interesting, like, what would prevent somebody from being like, okay, Connor, I'm going to sign you to a $20 million a year endorsement deal with my company. And now you sign a contract with the Oilers for $1 million a year.
So that was a sticky situation in the Tavares and Stamkos things when they would go meet with Toronto.
The Canadian Tire thing or whatever.
Right. And the Leafs GMs would bring in they were bringing in executives from these companies being like,
really?
We have a pretty nice endorsement deal for you. Oh, so do we. Oh, these guys have one too. But that'd be the same thing as the McDavid in a way, right? Like, you can't be like, Connor, we're going to give you $200 million in team value if you sign your next deal.
I never said give.
Sell.
Sell. Okay.
There's a difference though, right? It's like offering somebody, if you're a tech company, right? It's perfectly natural to offer share options to staff, right? And sometimes they're free and sometimes they're paid. With a guy like Connor, you'd be like, hey, buy $100 million worth of shares. And by the time you retire, they'll be worth $130 million. Then when it doesn't fuck with the CBA and contract, we'll do some crazy deal where you get shares in the Oilers to continue on as owner until you are 95 years old.
I think that's part of the reason the Pittsburgh Penguins have been able to be so successful off the ice is because they have Mario built into their brand, right? Like, Mario's a god there.
Yeah, man. That's why Ron Burkle agreed to buy the team with him. He's like, I would like to buy the Pittsburgh hockey team, please. And Ron Burkle's like, who the hell are you? And he's like, I am Pittsburgh hockey. He's like, well, let's do it.
Speaking of big money deals, Wanye, did you hear about the Pat Mcafee Show? Do you know what that is?
No, I don't.
So he was an NFL punter who still could have gotten contracts, could have kept playing, but hung it up, stepped out, and was like, I'm going to work with Barstool. I'm going to do my media career. I'm going to do media and comedy.
Okay.
And I saw someone retweeted it today on my timeline. He got ripped. Mike Wilbon on PTI was like, someone close to him needs to have an intervention. This guy's insane. He's leaving $1 million NFL career for blogging. This guy's dumb. You got chewed for.
Hey, you can make a lot of money blogging.
So he goes and he works at Barstool for a bit. He then starts his own show, the Pat Mcafee Show. It's like a daily show. He gets a bunch of good guests, all that stuff. He sold an advertising deal to Fan Duel. Fan Duel is going to be the official sportsbook or whatever of his show. 4 years, $30 million a year.
A year?
A year. $120 million to sponsor his show. The Pat
How
Mcafee
big are
Show.
his downloads?
Well, they're astronomical.
Yeah, they're huge.
Because
he was the guy. He was the guy that
downloads a day.
Well, I couldn't give you the numbers, but he was the guy that, remember when Aaron Rodgers did that interview that pissed off the entire planet?
Yeah.
That happened on the Pat Mcafee Show.
Oh boy! And so that's a deal with Barstool or with Pat directly?
No, I think he went solo. Right?
He went
Tyler?
solo. So FanDuel's they got their logo up on his YouTube page. He goes Monday to Friday, noon to 3. So he does
So he does a radio show.
Yeah, basically does a radio show online. His show from today's show already has 186,000 views.
That's
so how many YouTube views on a fully baked 3 day later show?
So if we were to go back to Monday's show, Mondays has 318,000 views, but he also goes live on Twitter and he does it. You can download it as a podcast and all that stuff. And then he has everything he posts has the lowest one I can see is 68,000. Everything just crushes.
And he was a punter a year ago.
Or I think he was a punter in, 2016 might have been his last season.
Well, boys, first of all, congratulations to that guy.
Yeah,
I've never even heard of that dude.
So his guests that he's had on, just going through his YouTube here, he had Dana White on 21 hours ago. He did the Aaron Rodgers thing. He last
played in 2016, Wanye.
Yeah, and this guy, 30 schmil a season, and he built in an opt-out after year 3, I think. Just in case he can get more.
Probably his exclusive advertiser. He probably has other deals too.
Yeah.
Damn, boy.
That's
you're
title,
but stick with us. We'll all get somewhere one day together.
We can make tens of dollars if we keep this up.
Well, PointsBet didn't exactly pay 1 penny to be involved with us.
The other thing, business-wise, did you see the Bobby Margarita thing?
I love this. I love
Yes.
Unbelievable. Available only in Alberta right now, which is sick.
Strange.
Why didn't they approach us to come slang some of them margs?
Yeah,
Why
Bobby.
don't we get Bobby Margarita on the show, your Mchuk, on Real Life to talk wavy gravy bullshit?
Yeah, I can see if I can swing that.
That'd be so
Well,
cool.
you know he's got to move them units.
Yeah, he's got to move them units. We've got
in Alberta.
We
You
are
wanna talk
only
to
1
14
degree
Albertans
of.
via podcast.
We're 1 degree of Kevin Bacon away from him.
Well,
One
heaven's
silver
sakes.
fox just got to send us a text, you know?
Yeah, your Mchuk, his coworker has basically got a bat phone right to Bobby Margarita's bedside.
I'd like to try one of these margs. I'm a big marg guy.
Tell him if he
I'm
comes
really
on our
excited.
show, we will whore out Bobby Margarita for a month.
Absolutely. We just need to stock the fridge here at Nation HQ. That is all I ask. Thank you.
Just bring him on live.
And he has to have 6 margaritas before he comes on
Wait,
the show.
Tyler's got his number in his phone right now. He just flexed on me.
What?
Classic Bobby.
30 million a year and you have Bobby Margarita's phone number? What?
I
And Fernando Pisani has a son in the Oilers Kings? What?
had to close the window in case I accidentally pocket dialed them. Can you imagine we're sitting here, broadcaster starts ringing and it's him being like, hello?
Oh.
Who the fuck is this?
I like how
Bobby
Tyler just
Margarita?
casually flexed his number on me. Just, oh, look what I've got.
Oh, my.
There are very
I
few
call him
things cool
our
about me.
Frank Saravalli. That's what I call Tyler now.
Yeah.
Our Frank Saravalli.
Grow
Even
that
though we
Rolodex,
work with
buddy.
Frank Saravalli and actual Frank Saravalli's our Saravalli, I'll call your Mchuk our Saravalli.
Next time Frank is in town, we're going to do some kind of sneaky Ocean's 11 style lift of his phone and dump his contacts into Tyler's phone.
You
That's
can
the
buy
plan.
a device that you can lay near a phone that will, through AirPlay, pull all contacts and photos off the device if it's within like 6 feet.
That feels illegal.
Did I say the word legal at any point in my fact code?
I
No.
just felt
Most
like
good things aren't, like a Bobby Margarita. Cha, cha, cha.
I love it.
yeah, I think it's
I
really
love
cool.
Is that legal? Hey, you know what, man? Out here on the edge, nothing's legal.
I just felt like I really had to point out that is not legal for legal reasons.
I'm sorry. Is that legal? Here, speaking to my fucking flower on my lapel. It's a mic going right to the feds.
Feds watching.
That's always watching.
Every player I can't identify now, your Mchuk on another team is a fed.
Yep.
There's all these players I can't identify. I'm like, who the hell are all these people?
I think
Your
we-
answer is fed.
There's narcs everywhere.
I think
That's what
we
we're learning.
know. I think we know who or what the running theme will be on the Oilers Nation Twitter tonight.
Oh, I've been down that joke all year.
Oh, really? Okay. I muted
Did you
you.
mute
again.
us, your Mchuk?
Yeah.
Well, too bad for you. You're missing out on a lot of laughs. Oilers Twitter has never been funnier in my time on Oilers Twitter. I swear. It's like back to the early golden days.
Because you have
People like
access.
Kennedy.
Oh yeah.
What's that? Because I have access what?
No, I'm just saying, like in general, like it's the fan experience has never been like this, and people are so used to now like being at home and watching games by themselves that like I
Yeah.
think during the pandemic, Twitter became like an even bigger
Yeah.
crutch for people who want to belong to a community.
Well, and also I'd say that for 14, 15 years, we had to make our own fun because there was nothing fun on the ice to talk about. So
Yeah.
now that there's actual,
And there's 50,000 of us there that have been making our own fun together for a decade.
yeah. Nobody does self-deprecating humor better than Oilers fans, and nobody has more fun when they're actually good than we do.
But the
We
amount of
appreciate it.
people now, like Oily Gifts and Kennedy and Mimamoto and Oilers Adam, like the amount of people making hilarious Oilers memes is off the chart.
And the thing too is that, so I was talking to Waz about this. We've got a report building in the background of just trying to track people that make content for our other team sites that we can aggregate and give them shout outs and all that stuff like we do at ON. What I've learned is Oilers Nation's very unique in that we have so many people, well, not just the nation, Oilers fans in general. They have so many people making funny shit. It's unique and
Yes.
nobody really knows about it.
Well, I mean,
Oilers fans
there's a
know about
lot
it
more engagement in the Oilers Twitterverse than there is for other teams. A lot
Totally.
more engagement.
because we're trying to find who's the Wanye, who's the Bag Milk, who's the Mimamotos of Calgary. And it's just,
Oh, snap. There is no Bag Milk or Wanye shit.
but you can't find those people. They just don't
They
exist.
don't exist, man. We're too cool.
Starchy.
Bag Milk, you ever run into yourself?
One time, it's been a while, but I've had messages that I was at the pint nights where I wasn't at the pint and a guy was using my name to get free drinks.
That's fair.
That's a risky place to do it. Because if you walk up to Rick and say, hey, I'm bagged milk from Oilers Nation, can I get drinks? I'd love to see how that plays out.
No, because Rick would think something's up and he'd think his duty is to play along with the joke. He'd be like, of course you are, thinking there's like a hidden camera on him or something. Either
that or my phone buzzes right away and he's like, what's going on here?
Oh, he'd text you, but he'd be like, I'm letting bag milk say he's bag milk until I figure out what the fuck is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Mm-hmm.
No, it's been a while since that's happened though.
Yeah.
But it has happened. Mm-hmm. And frankly, I was a little bit jealous that guy was actually getting free drinks as me, whereas I don't get free drinks as me from just random people that are, cruising at the pint.
Well, you would if you were hanging your shingle out of the bar and wearing a bag of milk on your head.
Well, of course. I'm incognito, baby. I'm in the shadows.
You gotta be. What were we talking about before that?
Pat McAfee, Bobby Mark. Smoke. Yeah, getting that big smoke.
No, right before we talked about the pint. Only this was being recorded. We could go back and listen. Well, fuck it.
No, there's no way to do that.
No.
Bobby Margarita has a kid who does not look like Bobby Margarita and who is dressed to the mother.
I think he looks. You don't
exactly
think Sean
looks like
dead
Bob?
ringer?
I think they are identical. I think
when that hair goes soft.
First of all, he's much younger, much younger.
Really? His kid's younger than him.
When that hair goes salt and pepper, though, he's going to be a dead ringer.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh man, I can't get over how similar they look in this photo.
I love it, man.
Whoa, that lady's getting pulled by her dog on the ice. That was insane.
So I'll tell you, as somebody, outside there's a lady.
Get some video.
There's a Oh man, there's a lady walking her dog, and it is pulling her like 4x4 style. And that reminds me, right now the sidewalks in Edmonton, because of the freezing rain and shit, are just death traps. So I almost took a header yesterday when I was walking my dog, Frank Saravalli, and I almost wiped out. So I feel this lady.
Hold on. Did you just say Frank's name is Frank Saravalli?
Yeah.
Is that a new thing?
No.
This lady's still struggling going up the sidewalk.
She really
I'm
is.
not kidding.
No one's taking video. I can see the two of you, your phones. No one gives a shit if Wanye sees a funny lady getting pulled.
She went probably 6 meters without taking a stride right in front of our window. That was hilarious.
Well, thanks for not reaching to your right elbow, picking up a lightweight mobile phone and directing it at the comedy so your friend can see.
It happened way too fast.
Oh my God. It's been happening for like a minute and a half.
She's gone.
She gone.
Oh, you're up, Chuck. Every time I open and close my garage door, I will think of that lady that I didn't see the comedy and say I missed out in life.
And you know what? If you were here, I wouldn't be sitting in the spot I am, and I wouldn't have seen it. You would have. So.
Oh!
Yeah.
One time when I was in grade 3, I pretended to be sick and stayed home even though I wasn't sick. And then when I went to school the next day, the school had caught fire the day before. And I missed out because I was playing fake sick hooky, and I started crying in front of my whole grade 3 class.
I like that you cried that you missed the school
fire. It's my motherfucking dream. What?
I like that you cried because you missed the school fire.
That's my dream. The only thing that would have made me happier is if the teachers all fell down the stairs together and landed on the principal in front of the entire school. The school catching fire and possibly having to close forever is my fucking elementary school dream.
I never got that.
No, my school's never burnt down either.
I don't even think kids get snow days now because they can just go on Zoom, can't they?
Yeah. It's pandemic fucked up a lot of shit.
Pandemic fucked and ruined a lot of things for kids.
But it's good you can go on Zoom now if you're a little kid. Like you can go to the lake or something and call in, hopefully. Hopefully that's the world we live in.
I even think like sick days, right? Like are sick days going to be any more in school, or will it be like, well, don't worry, today's lesson is up on Zoom. You can just go download the file and watch it.
Yeah.
And the kids are like, fuck, I'm not even sick.
Kids don't know. They don't know how good we
had
it.
Don't know, man.
Nope. All right, before we keep moving along here, shout out to Oodle Noodle.
Of course.
Been eating a lot of Oodle Noodle recently. And you can get
17 locations.
Yep, there's a lot. Soon to be 1,700.
1,700?
Yeah, that's the plan. I looked at the
40
models.
million?
I stole the chart from Jay.
Yep.
Said 1,700.
Heavy.
You can use it in combination with the app DoorDash. If you don't know what DoorDash is, it's a food delivery system. You open it up on your phone, you pick one of the many restaurants, you type in your address, you order your food, and someone will drive it from that restaurant to your house. Wild technology. Use the promo code OODLE2021 on DoorDash. Get $7 off your order of $30 or more at Oodle Noodle. How about that?
I would also encourage you to follow Oodle Noodlegram on Instagram to see all the hilarious memes Wanye and I make.
Oh, good idea, Bagman.
So many memes.
Good idea.
Nobody's making more noodle memes than we are.
Nobody. I would say there isn't a fast food chain making more product-related memes about their shit than Oodle Noodle.
Absolutely not.
No, McDonald's.
Would you say that?
Sucks.
No, who's doing it? Nobody.
Nobody, man. You're in check. Number one in noodles. Number one in memes.
You know who could catch up to Oodle Noodle? Arby's, if they hired bagged milk.
I make a lot of Arby's
Well,
memes.
there's that.
All they have to do is give you gift cards in the mail,
Yeah, I
and
just
you'd
want free
supply them with
Arbyes.
memes.
What the fuck? Would you jump ship from Oodle Noodle or say it's not exclusive?
No.
Not exclusive?
I don't have a yeah, there's no compete here.
We're going to have to up our meme game if we're going to have to start attracting Calgarians to the Noodlegram. Damn.
Yeah, we just can't put bowls of dirt or something. Just eat better than this, Calgary.
Yeah. Eat better than you deserve, you idiots. That's going to be the motto.
Stupid. Why is it
Oodle Noodle
stink in
just
this town?
insults Calgarians. We don't want to be here, but we're here.
Because you fuckers can't feed yourself. So we had to come down here. It makes sense.
You guys don't know taste for nothing. So
you uncultured swine.
They don't eat green onion cakes in Calgary. I know that already.
That is a weird thing.
About to start.
It's very odd to me how.
I think.
It's very odd to me how green onion cakes are so specifically Edmonton.
Not now. Oodle Noodle's going to try to break them out of a local regional hit.
People just need to get them. The green onion cakes at Oodle Noodle are legit.
We're going to do taste airs with little toothpicks and shit, but you can't right now because of COVID.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But you can try out these green onion cakes. It's like we've introduced a new food item into the Calgary food scene. Like when Calgary introduced the Caesar into the worldwide drink scene.
Yep.
Can you imagine being the bartender at the Stampede in Calgary in whatever year that was? He's like, I got it. And he just whips up this drink for all these hungover Stampede.
Well, let me ask you a question about that.
Invents the Caesar.
I've thought about this a lot. Did he really, or did he just substitute the tomato juice for a clam cocktail? Because Bloody Marys have been around.
No, that's a real head scratcher. So he took a Bloody Mary and swapped in Clamato juice, which is a regional drink in Canada.
Yeah.
That's still inventing a new drink.
So if I take ingredients from a Caesar and I plug in orange juice, am I the inventor of the whatever that is? I think it'd be disgusting.
Isn't that just a screwdriver?
No, screwdriver is just vodka and orange juice, baby. We need all the seasonings and the spices and all that shit.
A little press of 7-Up if you're a child.
Mm-hmm. Delish.
I used to throw a little 7-Up in mine.
I actually couldn't drink orange juice for years because I got so drunk in high school. I mean, no, I didn't. That I couldn't drink them for years because I got so sick off screwdrivers. I couldn't drink orange juice.
You know what I drank at the
vodka.
Millennium, your Chuck? At the Millennium, the Millennium,
yes.
The Will 2K?
Yeah, I drank Gladiators the entire night.
What's that?
Oh, nice.
Peach schnapps and amaretto dropped in orange juice. And I drank 2 liters of OJ. And I always think I drank a whole bottle of each one.
Do you want to know
when the Millennium came in, I was dancing. Boy, was I dancing.
I bet you were. You want to know what I was drinking at the Will 2K?
Talk to me.
I had 2 Big Bears. 2
simultaneously?
Big Bears. Absolutely. I had one in the fridge.
Edward
one
40 hand style?
No, I didn't do Edward 40 hands. I just bought 2 Big Bears. I remember because it cost me $8.
That's a hell of a New Year's.
It was a hell of a New Year's.
Your Chuck, do you know what Edward 40 hands is?
Yes, I do.
We should play that as a streaming thing for real life.
Oh, man.
Oh, brother.
Next game stream, we're playing Edward 40 hands to watch Chalmers piss his pants.
You got to be careful, though. Did you hear about Chance the Rapper peeing and then he saw a bug and he put it on Instagram Live and he accidentally showed everybody his wang on Instagram Live?
Shut up.
Yeah, he was peeing and there was a bug in the bathroom. He was like, ah! And then he Instagram Live the bug while he was peeing and then people freeze framed his wang.
This is interesting and it goes nicely with...
It better be on topic.
It was on topic about 20 minutes ago. The Pat Mcafee thing. I just wanted to share this because it popped up on my Twitter. So he gets his $30 million deal from Fan Duel. And on the day he signs it, he donated $6 million of it to youth programs, children hospitals, domestic violence shelters, and other charities. So he sprinkled around 6 mil today. Shout out to Pat Mcafee, who is part of the podcasting world alongside us, right?
Equals.
He is Connor McDavid. We are Colton Sevier.
How dare you?
Hey.
How
Name a
dare
better
you?
Oilers podcast than this, including Oilers Nation Radio.
Don't look at the stats.
Well, it's because we only do 2 episodes and you only do 1.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
An interesting idea for content. Surveyor Brett DM'd me today and said he's going to be officiating my beer league game on December 29th. And he was like, should I wear a helmet cam?
That would be hilarious.
Me screaming at Surveyor Brett.
Do you yell at him?
Do you spaz a lot?
I freaked out on him once.
That's good. That's good.
Don't yell at
You should
podcast listeners.
Pretend like you don't know, and then you're not in on the joke, and then lose your shit on them.
Yeah.
I worried that might just happen anyways. Anywho.
Don't yell at podcast listeners.
I know. Can we wrap this up with a little bit of Oilers talk?
Sure.
I'd like to know how many downloads whatever that guy's name is has.
Pat
Well, he's
McAfee?
getting 320,000 YouTube views on a show. I would imagine he's getting close to 1 million downloads on a podcast.
Inclusive of YouTube, 1 million.
I think if you
Is what you'd
include
guess.
if you include YouTube, I'd say I'd ballpark at 1 million downloads an episode.
Man, that's just
And what is DFO show reaching right now for frame of reference?
Well, not that, a fraction of that.
Well, obviously, but like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or what?
Yeah, it's definitely more than tens of thousands. But
So you're
it's
in the
not.
hundreds of thousands.
yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Well, then we should be getting 4 million a year off that show.
Yeah, the math checks out. And I'm not good at math. Okay, let's wrap it up with
Damn,
some,
your M check.
let's wrap it up with some hockey talk. Team trying to snap out of a 3-game losing streak tonight. Jeff Merrick wrote a blog from Sportsnet saying Brendan Gallagher might be available out of Montreal.
He's a little firecracker. I'd
He's
like
a little
him.
He's a
firecracker.
leader of men.
Edmonton boy as well. What would you be?
Is he an Edmonton boy?
Yeah,
I didn't know that either.
I think he's an
Like
Edmonton boy.
Teo Pisani?
Maybe he's not. Maybe
Like Teo Pisani.
I know he has family here. Is he from Edmonton? Yeah, he was born in
Gallagher
Edmonton.
reminds me of Teo Pisani.
He was born here. Tyler just found out.
Yeah, he
The
was
Google machine.
born here. What would you give up
This is
for
the kind
Brendan
of guy we
Gallagher?
need.
Like, let me throw this at you, Bag Milk. I threw this one at Zach Lang.
Mhm.
Your next 2 first-round picks
Mm.
and Kyler Yamamoto.
Oh,
They got to take Mikko and Cassian to make the money work here, but you get back.
what are
Ben,
his stats?
But you get Ben
Brendan
Sherratt and Brendan Gallagher.
Yeah, I would do that.
2 first, Yamamoto, couple guys to make the money work for Gallagher and Sherratt.
So in 23 games right now, Gallagher has 4 goals, 6 assists, but this is a down year.
What do you have in his good years?
We're talking about a 20 goal, 25, 30 goal scorer. He's been pretty consistent and he's a firecracker out there. He would add an element to this team that you don't have.
I mean, he would be like
Injury concerns though.
injury concerns, but at any point you'd be rolling over the boards Hyman or either Hyman with McDavid or Gallagher with Draisaitl. That's unbelievable.
What,
Ooh,
are
that's
we talking
unbelievable. How
about?
much does he make?
Is Montreal blowing this up? Like, where did this come from? Or are you just making things up?
So Merrick wrote in his article that the Habs might be going towards the rebuild, and Gallagher has previously said he has no interest in being on a rebuilding team.
How much does he make? How much does he make?
6.5 for 4 or 5 more years.
So they would have to do like some major tap dancing here to get the
Well, yeah,
get the money to work.
you'd have to get Cassian out, and they'd have to take Koskinen, and they'd have to take both of them to make it
Who's
work.
playing
this
in
year.
net then?
Skinner.
Gallagher? You want to get Brendan Gallagher and put him in net, your MJ?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I wish I was there so I could slap you.
I mean, I like Brendan Gallagher. Like I said, he just adds a different flavor. He would add a different layer of compete that I think that the Oilers don't have. But getting him, I just don't see how it works.
It's a lot.
I don't think Ken Holland is creative enough to make it work, to be honest.
Ken Holland helped 20 people defect from the USSR to play hockey for the Red Wings. He is plenty creative.
But that was a long time ago, man. If
Yeah.
you're still selling cars that you made in 2002 without updating the old model, no one's buying those babies anymore.
Okay, players currently employed by Ken Holland include Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
He did absolutely nothing to bring them here or sign them.
I'm just saying he's relevant today.
Well, Holland there's no connection between them other than the fact they get paychecks on the same employer.
Really? Right now, who would be in charge of trading Leon Draisaitl?
Okay, well, Holland would, but again, like I'm
A
not
man with whom there's no connection.
but I'm not
according to
giving.
your
But
flawed logic.
there's no connection for credit. Like I'm not telling. Like Ken Holland
No,
doesn't.
but if Bag Milk says you're telling me Ken Holland was interesting 20 years ago selling cars that existed then,
Yeah.
all I'm saying is he's still very much a relevant GM today.
Well, yeah.
He's not an old crazy old Gil from The Simpsons or some shit.
Well, he's a relevant GM today, but I think you could argue that his results.
I
since
think the
cap era-
creativity, I don't know if the
Yeah.
creativity has evolved all that much since 2002.
Rimchuck, you sit there in your brown shirt telling the Oilers GM
Bag
his
Milk's the
results
one
since
saying
cap
this
era
too.
sucks. It's a shame. It's a shame that you're so legit that you're on a show with Frank Saravalli now, so nothing can be done to stop you. because your Oilers attitude requires adjustment. Ken Holland is a visionary.
I don't think my Oilers attitude requires any sort of adjustment. I think I'm just...
Yeah, it does. They're going to win the cup and you'll be like, oh, can they do it again? No.
I wouldn't be like that at all.
I just spat gum out of my mouth making that poop noise. Yes.
I always say that if your team wins a championship, you
always say, hey?
If your team wins a championship, you can't complain for 5 years. You got a ring. You got a ring. You can't complain for 5 years.
I love that the Montreal Canadiens were in the Stanley Cup final like 10 minutes ago, and their fan base is raging. It makes me laugh.
Well, because they were denied their moment at the top. It was fleeting.
Mm-hmm. I hope they still talk.
We've never been to the top,
but
I like it down here in Mariana's Trench. It's had a lot of pressure down here.
It wasn't even like the Habs. Like if the Oilers lost in the Cup final, then the next year were bad. It would be like stunning. It'd be like, how the fuck did this happen? That
happened 2006, 2007.
Yeah. Right. But like the Oilers are trending in that direction to being a cup contender. The Habs like really weren't trending in that direction. They just happened to get really fucking hot for a while. They like barely squeaked into the playoffs. Just say
to us that the Habs got unreasonably hot, went to the Cup finals and went to shit the next year, and that's unprecedented? That's exactly what happened to us.
No, I said it was predictable that this was going to happen to the Habs this year. I didn't have them as a playoff team. Like they weren't.
Why did they get so shitty?
They lost Weber. They lost Price over the offseason. Like Price wasn't coming back. Weber's basically going to retire. And it was a team that very clearly just went on an insane heater backed by an insane heater from a goalie who hasn't been that good in a couple of years.
Weber's just injured and not playing?
Yeah, he's done. I don't think he's playing again.
What is his foots are fucked or something, right?
He's got a lot of shit wrong with him. Anyways.
Hard miles on that guy.
Like if it was the Lightning who were like not making the playoffs and firing their coach right now, I'd be like, holy shit, that is stunning because they were supposed to be good. The Habs like weren't supposed to be good last year. Weren't good this year, but they just like had a good run for a bit. And everyone's like, oh, they're legit. It's like, well, that just shows that playoff hockey is just...
It's a toss up. You just got to get in the dance.
You just got to get in the dance, right? And that's the other thing with this Oilers team. That's why I want to see Ken Holland loaded up. It's like, man, I don't care if they are running away with the top spot in the division or fighting for third place in the division. Load up with this team, get them in. Because if McDavid and Draisaitl, like we saw for a month this year, if they get hot...
I wish you were the GM, your MCheck. I wish you were. You could wear that shirt.
That's part of the reason I'm still so mad that Ken Holland tied up the second round pick in the Keith deal. Annoying. That drives me fucking... It was so unnecessary. I don't know why you felt the need to do that or why that was a requirement. If you went to Chicago and said third rounder and Caleb Jones is the deal and we're taking his full money, sweat him out. He wasn't going anywhere. Chicago wanted to lose the money. Like all of that.
Damn, you got these irate takes. Are you an Oilers fan or aren't you?
But then if you would have left that pick, you could have used your first and second rounders this year as trade bait. And now you can't. You can only swing with your first.
Speaking of the Blackhawks,
we weren't, but okay.
Well, it kind of were the Duncan Key thing. Jujhar Khaira, that hit was scary, man.
He probably shouldn't play again this year.
I don't think he should play again either. That was 3 times in the last calendar year that he's been out cold on the ice.
No.
That's scary, man. Like if you're looking at long-term Jujhar, like 60-year-old
I love the Juge outside of the world of hockey.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think that's something he has to think about.
Someone's got to, I think, and it's shitty to say this from the outside, but like sit down with him and be like, hey man, if you love this sport, let's talk about coaching. Let's talk about doing something else. Because
I just worry about the guy.
Yeah, you can't keep doing this. Like getting knocked out cold is one thing too. But like when he hit his head against the glass when he was an Oiler against Montreal and they did the close up on him and like the spit was coming out of his mouth, I was like, that's not okay. That can't be happening.
No.
And that was only like 10 days. I'm exaggerating. I don't know the actual date, but it was very, very close to when he got knocked out in that fight.
Yeah.
Someone's going to talk to these guys and be like, you have a life outside of sports that is more valuable than your life as a player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be putting your fucking life on the line for this shit. Like, yes, we love you and we love that you sacrifice, but like long-term injuries, long-term cognitive, that's outside of the realm of sports. That's lifetime shit.
There will be a time when he's like a 50-year-old dad. You know, you got to think about that time as well, because that was scary.
And you're rich. You're fine.
You estimated career earnings of just over 5 schmil. You're Jujhar. Like take the money. Get out of here while you're still healthy.
I was just really worried.
Plus, if you retire due to Conkey, you'll get a payout too.
I was worried about the guy. Even then when they said, okay, he's fine, he's alert and all that stuff, I was like, okay, that's great to hear. But man, that was a scary one.
Yeah. Super scary.
Even the one Cassian had earlier this year where he hit his head in the ice and he was back joking around. And then in the next game, I guarantee you he still feels that concussion.
It just, and I'm no doctor, obviously, but well, I could be.
You're not?
Unlicensed.
You're not a doctor?
Unlicensed. Aren't concussions easier to get once the ball starts rolling? Isn't that a thing?
I think that's kind of the thing.
Man.
Yeah. Either way.
The fluid in your brain, the distance between the brain and the skull, the fluid, the space gets smaller.
Hoping the best for our boy Jujar.
Yeah, of course. Like that was a rough one to watch.
And also hoping the Oilers snap out of this losing streak tonight.
I feel like they can.
I think they will.
And let me tell you why. They have been playing the Boston Bruins very hard for a few seasons now. I know they didn't play them last year. Don't at me. But they play them hard, and I don't know why. Played them probably one of their best games earlier in the season. Tyler's given up on the podcast. I think that they win tonight.
I think they win every night. I'm with you. I like this positivity.
I also think they win
I'm going to call you not your M-Chuck.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about tonight, to be honest.
All right.
Tell me more about that lady with the dog before we go.
She just got dragged by her dog for a few feet.
I can't find her. She's gone.
Classic.
All right. This is episode 336 of the Real Life Podcast. Shout out to the HGA group and also our friends at Twig and Berries and Doodle Noodle and DoorDash and a new sponsor that's coming next Monday. And we'll have a new segment to do with them. And we promise we'll keep this segment rolling. This has been episode 336.
Is it $40 million a year money?
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Real Life Podcast. Don't want to miss any of our nonsense? Hit the subscribe button and give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram.